End of day recap for Tuesday, January 23rd. Not a ton to really update here. Essentially, we came into the session looking and wanting to see how price traded versus that prior day's range. That would be Monday's range. Coming into Monday, we were expecting a bit of a resting bar. That's exactly what we saw with price giving that half ATR move. If you're unfamiliar with ATR, that is average true range. So on any given session, the average move on ES is about 46 points. Yesterday, I believe it was around 22 or 23. And then today we're looking at a 22-point move as well. So another day of just essentially what could be considered choppier conditions, with price just trading in a very, very tight range on very, very low volume. Right now we're looking at like nearly holiday volume as far as how low the volume is. So not a lot of market participation currently, as price just kind of chops around this range, taking a bit of a breather following Friday's daily breakout. Now this setup currently, there's nothing bearish about it, as I've been mentioning over the past couple of days, focusing exclusively on long trades personally. Today, the main watch, we are looking at how price reacted versus that prior day low. And ES, you can see it pretty much held almost perfectly to the tick there, that prior day low. And we see a bounce into that near-term range high, just shy of the 4,900 area now. So as far as what we're looking at for tomorrow, you can probably guess near-term range trading. We want to see how price breaks this 4,900 by 4,875 area, how that range is going to be resolved. Now, currently we have the daily breakout from Friday, and once again, just to reiterate, this is just consolidation, right? No real selling yet. Price showing more of a correction through time rather than a correction through price. Remember, price is going to correct in one of two ways, either through price, which means it's actually going to pull back, or it's going to correct through time, which is what we see here with the consolidation. So consolidation continues. Nothing really all that unusual considering the prior couple of trend days that we had, especially with Friday's breakout move. 4,800 main level of interest for tomorrow's session, as well as the 4,875 area. Now, one thing I do want to note here is Netflix does report after hours here today. That is the first big tech earnings that we're going to be seeing. And Netflix is definitely a market mover. This is a high, or rather a large market cap name as far as the weighting in QQQ and ES. It is going to be much heavier in QQQ, in NQ, that NASDAQ product. So you want to be keeping an eye on that after hours action, depending on what kind of move we have with Netflix. It could absolutely be a muted move. I'm not sure what the expected move is on Netflix for earnings. I haven't taken a look at that yet. But we want to see, how price is going to trade versus essentially what is a near-term structure right through here, right? So just coiling, getting tighter within the structure, and then depending on the report, we'll be looking at a break of this structure most likely. So as a reminder, don't gamble through earnings. Not worth it. Not worth it. Better trade opportunities will be presented tomorrow. Now, as far as NQ, very similar type of approach here. We had chatted this morning about that potential exhaustion that had been identified on the daily chart here. Sellers had a chance to really show that weakness below yesterday's low, below Monday's low. You could see the little blip below Monday's low. That was their opportunity, and they really failed to materialize and show any type of follow through on that selling. So we're going to be treating this the exact same way on NQ here. We came into the session once again wanting to see how price traded versus that prior day low right through there, 17,435. And so when we look at the actual regular trading hours chart, again, take a look at this. There's your prior day low, right? And what's interesting about that is you have Friday's volume point of control, that yellow line across the screen right through there. 17,433. So this was likely accumulation. You likely have more accumulation through these past two sessions, and price most likely, probability favors higher prices. Now, as far as how to approach tomorrow, very similar. We just want to be watching how price trades either versus today's low, Tuesday's low, or Tuesday's high into that 17,525 area. So it should be a pretty straightforward approach. Again, you want to keep an eye on the Netflix earnings, likely going to be having some impact on NQ, and we'll just take it from there. That's about it. Not a ton to update here on the index. Has been pretty tight. Hopefully you guys did not get chopped up today. Volume was quite low very early in the session, which was kind of the main clue that told me to be doing less. ES, incredibly choppy off the open. The best opportunity that I personally saw today was this initial retest of prior day low in NQ. You have the puke right off the open. Nice hammer. Shows buyers are stepping in versus that pre-market low, that prior day low. Nice intraday reversal trade right through there. And then take a look at this, a retest, higher low retest of that prior day low. Another higher low retest at that prior day low. Price is coiling, right? Coiling all through the session. You have a series of lower highs, series of higher lows, and it resolves higher. Buyers in control, even within the chop. Pull back to VWAP, right? Pull back to VWAP, and now we're at session high. So structurally speaking, it is looking pretty good. NQ continues to trade incredibly technically, regardless of low volume, regardless of choppier conditions. You're still going to find some decent opportunities within the chop. It can be a little bit harder to read, which is why it's not a bad idea to just stay hands off. But still some decent setups within there. Now, as far as individual names, Netflix, obviously going to be a post-earnings watch. Just going to be trading, assuming this has a gap, just going to be trading the potential gap there. And then we also had Snow. Shout out to D-Wall in the Traders Think Tank for bringing this one to the team's attention this morning. I believe his call was for a break of prior day high to test 205. So that panned out nicely. What I like about this setup currently is we do have a structure here, right? Oh, that's really crooked, but you can see the recent highs through here. Area of support, area of support. So this is essentially, today's action is essentially triggering a breakout. We do have pretty big volume, much higher than average volume. So we want to treat this as a second day and see if there's going to be any type of continuation there on Snow. Other than that, the scans have been quite dry. This has been a market that has been primarily giving us opportunities within the index. And so we'll have a focus on ES, NQ, near-term range trading. We have back-to-back sessions with a very tight range. And that's about it. Misha saying the expected move in Netflix is $38. So let's take a quick look at that. Netflix, where does that put us as far as upside and downside? 490. Okay. So that's going to either put us, up into here. So that would be a big breakout play, or potentially somewhere down into here, which would be a prior area of support, prior area of resistance. So let's see how that shakes out. Definitely with that expected move, assuming it does put in that expected move or more, price will be outside of this near-term structure. So we may have some good action there in the Netflix, and of course that will bleed over into other tech names as well as NQ. NQ now coming into session highs. Pretty solid. Bulls continuing to show their strength. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon. Later.